There's a rifle sitting in a gun store right now for $350. Right next to it is another rifle that shoots the same caliber, takes the same magazine, and has a similar trigger pull, but it costs $6,000. And here's the part almost nobody tells you. If you pick the wrong one for the wrong reasons, the price tag won't be what determines whether it lets you down when it matters most. So, should you build an AR-15 or buy one in 2026? Everyone online seems convinced they have the answer. Building saves money. Buying is safer for beginners. You've heard both arguments 100 times. The problem is, both are only half true, and that's exactly why so many first-time owners end up regretting their decision. Today, we're cutting through the myths with industry data, federal regulations, and real-world testing, not forum debates or internet opinions. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly which option fits your situation, and you'll also learn the one mistake that causes more failures than almost anything else. And trust me, the third point is the one almost nobody talks about, even though it's the biggest factor in whether your rifle lasts 10,000 rounds or barely makes it through 10. Let's start with the biggest myth of them all. A cheap AR-15 shoots just as well as an expensive one. At first, that's surprisingly close to being true. Take a brand new budget rifle to the range, and chances are it'll print respectable groups at 50 or even 100 yards. Brownell's own gunsmiths have tested exactly this, and in the short term, the accuracy gap is much smaller than most people expect. But here's the catch. That's only day one. Manufacturers don't magically build cheaper rifles. They cut costs somewhere. Maybe it's softer aluminum that doesn't truly meet military specifications. Maybe it's polymer components that begin to flex once they heat up. Maybe it's handguards or rails that claim to follow the Picatinny standard, but fall just outside the tolerances. None of those shortcuts show themselves during a relaxed Saturday afternoon at the range. They show up months, or even years, later, after thousands of rounds. When finishes wear down, tolerances begin to open up, and small reliability problems start becoming big ones. And once you understand that, the question completely changes. It's no longer, which rifle shoots better today? It's, which rifle will still run the same way after thousands of rounds? That's the question that should drive every buying decision. But performance isn't the only thing people misunderstand. The legal side catches new owners off guard all the time, especially if they're thinking about building their own rifle. Right now, the ATF treats an unfinished 80% lower differently from a completed receiver. Generally speaking, it isn't legally considered a firearm until it's machined beyond certain points. The problem? That line hasn't stayed still. Federal rulemaking has repeatedly focused on how easily partially completed receivers can be converted, and courts have gone back and forth over how much authority the ATF actually has in regulating them. If you're building a rifle strictly for your own personal use, you're generally operating under a different set of considerations than someone planning to sell or transfer it later. The moment you start thinking about transferring that rifle, you're stepping into an entirely different legal category, and that's a detail countless first-time builders overlook, sometimes with serious consequences. But here's where this entire build versus buy debate takes an unexpected turn. The numbers tell a story most people never hear. There are now more modern sporting rifles in circulation across America than there are Ford F-Series pickup trucks on the road. Think about that for a second. This isn't a niche enthusiast market anymore. It's mass production on an enormous scale. And that's exactly why factory rifles have become dramatically better over the last decade. Companies producing hundreds of thousands of rifles every year can invest in manufacturing consistency, quality control, and production processes that simply aren't possible when someone is assembling their very first rifle on a workbench at home. So does that automatically mean buying is the smarter choice? Not so fast, because mass production has advantages, but it doesn't solve everything. Component prices have continued climbing through 2026, driven by higher manufacturing costs, imported material tariffs, and supply chain pressures. That creates a challenge for builders. You might price a barrel, bolt carrier group, and other parts in January, only to find the exact same components costing significantly more a few months later. Factory manufacturers can soften some of those price swings because they're purchasing enormous quantities under long-term contracts, something individual builders simply can't do. But here's the part that really matters. And honestly, this is where almost every comparison video misses the point. A good AR-15 isn't defined by the logo engraved on the lower receiver. It's defined by 4 components: the barrel, the bolt carrier group, the trigger, and the gas system. Get those 4 parts right, and an average-looking rifle can outperform a surprisingly expensive factory gun. Incur those 4 parts, and even a well-known brand can't guarantee long-term reliability. That's the truth hiding behind almost every budget versus premium comparison you've ever watched. It was never really about the price. It was always about the parts that actually do the work. So what does all of this mean for you? If you're completely new to firearms and your priority is dependable performance right away, whether for training, range use, or home defense, a quality factory rifle is usually the smarter starting point. You get a warranty, factory testing, and one less variable to worry about when reliability matters. But if you're mechanically minded, enjoy learning how things work, and genuinely want to understand every component inside the rifle you're trusting, then building can absolutely be worth it. Just don't chase the cheapest parts kit you can find. Invest in those 4 critical components first. That's where your money makes the biggest difference. At the end of the day, the biggest lesson isn't that building is better or that buying is better. It's that the price tag alone tells you almost nothing about how your rifle will perform a year or several thousand rounds from now. The barrel, the bolt carrier group, the trigger, and the gas system. Those are the parts that tell the real story. And if you want to know exactly which budget-friendly components have actually proven themselves in real testing and which ones aren't worth your money, that's exactly what we're covering in the next video. Because understanding the theory is valuable. Knowing the specific parts you can actually trust, that's what keeps you from learning the hard way.